Hello everyone! Welcome to the second part of We Are Done, I Can't Deal With You Anymore challenge. Ooh, this one was a bit more difficult than I expected, not only because I had one ship more than I should have had, but either way, Iwaoi is coming, and the rest I will talk about in the outro. So, let's get into it! As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons and all of you who subscribe and watch these videos. You are keeping this channel alive and going, thank you very much, and I hope you will enjoy! Unsure if he should be fuming or just in disbelief over the whole challenge exchange, I had to leave the phone on the kitchen counter, not interested in hearing anything from anyone that day, before he headed back to their living room to join Taichi again. This is so stupid. Absolutely dumb. He had no intention to ever say something like that to Taichi. Even if he didn't know his beloved's heart wouldn't survive that, he wouldn't go ahead. And with their wedding at stake now too, he refused to have anything to do with it. Others can ruin their own lives and relationships, I don't care, but I'm not sacrificing ours. Grumpy to the highest level, he paused for a beat, a soft smile curling his lips when he spotted Taichi snoozing peacefully on the couch, the notes he made during their planning process still in his hand. All disgruntlement gone immediately, he carefully stepped over the scattered papers and knelt next to the couch, brushing a stray strand of hair from Taichi's face. My poor sweetheart. It took only 10 minutes and he's out like lights. It had been a long week for both of them, but Taichi was definitely more exhausted than him. It was a tad worrying at times, with his recent health concerns and all that, but it seemed like the prospect of getting married returned some life into his body. I just hope you aren't overworking yourself when I'm not around. Or that you aren't hiding anything health-related from me again. He shivered, chasing that thought away. While they didn't know what caused his last collapse, the doctor assured them Taichi's blood was normal for his type of hemophilia, and there didn't seem to be any other issues, which was somewhat calming. Yet, Hayato couldn't get rid of the bad feeling occasionally stirring in his stomach whenever he noticed Taichi's skin paled or his steps faltered. Please don't be hiding anything from me. As if hearing his thoughts, Taichi grumbled quietly under his breath, his nose scrunching adorably before his eyes fluttered open. Hayato smiled at him, leaving a kiss on his forehead. Morning. Morning? Is it already... He tried to get up, but Hayato stopped him. It's not, I'm just kidding. You've slept for like 5 minutes at most. Oh. He looked absolutely adorable with his mussed up hair and eyes glossed over with sleep, and Hayato couldn't but giggle. He gently pushed Taichi back on the couch. Sleep on. I'll carry you to bed later, But I'm not done with the dinner menu. I just closed my eyes and... It's okay, you don't have to finish that today. How about this? You take a nap now, and if you wake up while I'm still working, you can join. If not, I'll carry you to bed. Taichi seemed to think about it for a while, but then his exhaustion won. Okay. Awesome. Sleep well. The day was a bad one. Kindachi realized as much right in the morning after having to ask Kunimi for help to even get out of the bed after almost a month of doing just fine on his own. It should have been a warning sign for what was about to come, yet he still couldn't understand from where Iwaizumi got all this anger. He never kept it a secret how much he adored Oikawa, especially after the two started dating, and now this. And on top of everything, Kunimi seemed somewhat distant that day, and Kindaichi couldn't for the love of the world figure out why. It's weird. It's all so weird. He kept thinking about Kunimi and his sudden withdrawal from him the whole day after his fiancée left for work, wondering whether he did something wrong again. The issue was, ever since his accident, Kunimi was very careful with letting his feelings known, which in turn made things difficult to talk through. But why the sudden change? He seemed fine the whole weekend. He was torn from his pondering by a key rattling in the lock. Unlike usually though, he stayed seated this time, waiting for Kunimi to approach first. It took a while before Kunimi entered the living room, his eyes unfocused as if he was thinking about something. Welcome home. Kunimi actually flinched, blinking a few times while he looked around, truly looking like he had no idea where he was for a second. Oh, sorry, I didn't... Hi. Is everything okay? Kunimi visibly hesitated for a beat and then shook his head, too fast to be believable. Yeah, everything is fine. Just a busy day, nothing more. He left it at that and no less than rushed around Kindaichi without as much as a glance in his direction, leaving Kindaichi confused and alone again. Huh. Okay, something's definitely up. With a pained hiss, he got up from the couch, leaning on the crutches much more than he would like as he slowly made his way to the office where Kunimi disappeared. He found him rummaging through some papers, looking rather frantic. Do you need help? I'm not sure what you are looking for, but if you tell me... No, I don't need your help, just... You can go back, I'm fine. You don't sound fine. Is something... I am fine. Can you leave? I have stuff to do, I can't waste time chatting. His voice broke a bit at the end, but that didn't change the impact the words had. More than just a little weirded out, Kindaichi risked making a step closer. Aki, if something troubles you, I can... Just go away, would you? They both flinched, both startled by Kunimi's raised voice. Kindaichi clenched his jaw, swallowing the similarly harsh words already halfway out of his mouth, and shrugged as much as the crutches allowed him to. Alright, I just wanted to help. I really can't deal with you sometimes. He turned around to leave. However, he didn't even make 2 steps when a dull thud sounded behind his back, followed by something too close to a sob to leave him calm. Worried, he turned back, only to find Kunimi kneeling on the floor, his shoulders shaking and face hidden by his trembling hands. Aki? He rushed to Kunimi's side as fast as he could, gritting his teeth against the burning pain in his leg as he slowly knelt down too, cradling Kunimi's head in his palms. What's wrong? I'm sorry, I didn't mean it to sound harsh. It was just a challenge, I swear. It was just a partial lie, though it didn't seem to help much anyway as Kunimi continued to cry, the trembles now running through his whole body. Desperate to make it stop, Kindaichi put him under his chin, his heart breaking when Kunimi slumped into his arms, clinging to him as if he was scared he would disappear if he let go. Shh, it's okay, just breathe. Everything is fine. He continued to gently rub Kunimi's back, hoping to soothe the sobs jerking with his body while his mind raced to come up with possible reasons for the tears, but coming up short in the end. And so he just let Kunimi cry out whatever pains he was dealing with, hoping it was just stress and nerves and not something horrible. Things were bad, really bad, and he didn't even have to do the challenge. That's what you get for being dumb. What did it matter? His intentions and plans were good. He still hurt Daisho with his actions, albeit unintentionally. It had been 3 days since Daisho reached for his phone. 3 days since he withdrew into himself after getting his hand pushed away, his eyes losing the usual spark. And Terushima hated it, hated the fact it was him who stole it. The longer he watched his boyfriend walking around like a body without a soul, the more his chest constricted and heart ached, his mind urging him to come clear about the reason behind his actions. But he couldn't. Not yet. Just 2 more days, love. Then everything will be fine again, I promise. Until then, however, he had to figure out something to do or say to prevent his beloved spiraling even deeper the overthinking spiral. Of course, he knew how his behavior had to look like. He could guess what Daisho thought about. He didn't blame him for that. After his past experiences, it was no surprise he was scared. There has to be something I can tell him to calm him down without spoiling everything. Determined not to let Daisho suffer more, he got up from the table and rushed to the patio where he saw Daisho disappear a few minutes ago. Sure enough, he found his boyfriend curled on one of the chairs, hugging his knees while his eyes stared absently into the garden. The sight cracked Terushima's heart. Sugu. Daisho blinked a few times before he turned to him, fortunately not flinching to Terushima's relief. Yes? Sorry, I needed a breather. I know, don't apologize for that. He bit on his lip, thinking what to say for a while, but coming up with nothing. Great job, Yuji. Give us nothing. Yuji? Fed up with his inability to explain himself properly, Terushima squatted under Daisho's line of sight, carefully taking his hand into both of his. Please give me a few more days. Huh? I know I messed up when I smacked your hand away. I know it looks really bad, but I swear I'll explain everything in a few days. Just please trust me that I'm not going behind your back. I could never do that to you. You are the most important person in my life, and I love you too much to betray you like that. Daisho stayed still, his lips parting slightly and eyes widening, and Terushima had to hold back with everything he had to not reach for a kiss. They weren't there yet, even under normal circumstances. Then, tears glimmered in the corners of Daisho's eyes. Why can't you tell me what's going on then? Because it's a surprise. A good one, I promise. Or at least I hope so. Just give me a few more days. Please. His heart hammered into his ribs as the silence stretched, the only relief coming in the form of a short note from Daisho. Alright. I trust you. Terushima bit his tongue, battling the pressure building behind his eyes with the sincere answer. I'll make sure it's worth it, I promise you. Atsumu hated this. He still had the previous incident when he said something similar to Sakusa in vivid memory, same as the absolutely shattered look in his boyfriend's eyes, which he definitely didn't want to see again. Considering his record of accidentally overstepping Sakusa's boundaries, hurting him in the process, doing a challenge like this was absolutely unimaginable. Iwaizumi can shove it. I don't care what they are dealing with if they drag others along. A voice suspiciously similar to his brother's called him a hypocrite, but he decided to ignore it. Sure, he had a few not-so-nice challenges under his belt, but nothing like this. He was better. You look suspiciously content with yourself. Atsumu flashed him his brightest, most innocent grin, his heart skipping a beat upon seeing Sakusa abandon his t-shirt somewhere, letting him admire his abs. Not that he hadn't seen it every day, but that was beside the point. Sakusa seemed to notice his inward drooling and rolled his eyes, lightly smacking Atsumu's head before leaning down to kiss his forehead. Your eyes are going to fall out. What's wrong about admiring how stunning my boyfriend is? Sakusa huffed, but Atsumu didn't miss the light pink tint now coloring his cheeks, and added a point to his mental score. You didn't answer me. Oh, right. I'm just happy, that's all. He became serious again. Though, I do have a question for you. You don't have to say anything, but I want to get it out of the way. Okay. So, okay, first thing, this was supposed to be a challenge, but it's really bad, so we decided not to do it. Or at least not do it as intended. But in what sense? That it could really hurt someone's feelings and relationship. But I'm still a bit curious about what your reaction would be. Raising his eyebrow, Sakusa settled down opposite him and tilted his head, for a second reminding Atsumu just how innocent his boyfriend could be sometimes. What would you say if I told you that we are done because I can't deal with you anymore? Sakusa froze for a beat before his eyes strayed to the side, a shaky hum escaping his mouth. Atsumu quickly reached for his hand, squeezing it tight. It's just a challenge, Ome, I swear. I would never say something like that to you for real. I'm sorry, I shouldn't. No, it's alright. You warned me. It's just... I don't want to imagine how would it feel to hear that for real. But to answer your question, I don't know what I would do or say. Probably either begged you to stay or I would be too in shock to do anything. Well, luckily we don't have to find out. He kissed Sakusa's palm, giving him his best smile. Let's get lunch to come to different thoughts, Despite not planning to do the challenge in its full extent, Tendo found his hands shaking ever so slightly when he grabbed his phone to hop on the usual call France Poland. Perhaps it was a sign he shouldn't do the challenge at all. Knowing Ushijima for years taught him just how sensitive his fiancé's heart could be, especially when it came to their relationship. The last thing he wanted was to tear some of the strings holding them together because of a challenge. And he definitely didn't want to risk Ushijima taking him seriously and breaking their relationship completely. Well, we'll see, I guess. Depends on the mood he will be in. I don't have to say anything if he's not in the best mental space. It's just a normal call in that case, as always. With that, he dialed Ushijima's number, waiting for the man to pick up. However, there was no familiar click of the call being accepted. Not the first time, nor second, nor on his third attempt to reach his fiancée. Weird. He shouldn't have practice right now. And he would tell me if there was some out-of-schedule practice. A strange, heavy feeling settled in his stomach as he dialed the number one more time before he would decide to wait for a while, subconsciously bouncing his leg while he listened to the loud beeps. Then, finally, the call connected. But instead of a greeting, all he could hear was some strange background noise of voices and ringing. Toshi? Where are you? Is everything alright? For a long while, nothing except for the same noise came through. Then a weak echo of breathing joined before he finally heard Ushijima's voice. I can't talk right now. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. But why? What's going on? I can't right now. Wait, Toshi! No matter, the call ended as abruptly as it began, leaving Tendo in the silence of his flat. Confused and worried to the brim, he contemplated calling back, but given how quickly Ushijima ended the call, he doubted he would even pick up now. However, more than his calls not being returned, he was weirded out by the strange tone in Ushijima's voice. He couldn't recall him sounding so flat for years, almost as if he was trying to hide his emotions. But why? And what were the sounds he heard in the background? Shaken more than ever before, he headed to the kitchen to busy his mind with something that wasn't Ushijima, hoping to get some answers later on that day. Twirling the engagement ring in between his fingers, Iwaizumi wondered whether he did go too far with including others in this whole mess. He was upset, sure, but in the end he was doing the exact same thing as Oikawa, trying to justify his actions through making a challenge out of it. But he couldn't otherwise. He had to make Oikawa talk to him properly about the whole situation, or they couldn't move further. Not with unsaid, but obvious cheating accusations hanging above his head. With a frustrated sigh, he squeezed the ring in his palm and got up, heading to their office where Oikawa closed himself the moment he came home from the practice. Surprisingly enough, he didn't seem to want to leave their house and stay with some friends despite avoiding Iwaizumi like a plague and not showing any interest in getting the ring back, which perhaps hurt Iwaizumi even more. He seemed so happy when he finally got the ring, and now... It's partially his fault for refusing to listen to me. What did I even do? He doesn't trust me anymore. There had to be some underlying issue. He didn't want to believe their relationship was so weak he would lose Oikawa's trust so abruptly. Something had to be going on, and he had to figure it out. And for that, they needed to talk. Without arguing and raised voices, without boiling emotions. Just talk. With his heart pounding, he knocked on the door, unsurprisingly not getting any answer. Come on, we need to talk. I think we said everything already. You wouldn't be locked in the room if we did. When he didn't get answer to that either, he took a deep breath, sending a quick prayer to the gods. Look, this can't go on. I can't deal with this anymore. Either we talk or we are done. There's no in between. He felt horrible for saying it like that. The relationship ending was one of his worst fears since he could no longer imagine life without Toru by his side. But kind words no longer seemed to do the trick. You want to break up so bad? I don't. That's why I want to talk it out. But I can't do anything if you won't let me. He swallowed the note that Oikawa was the one who seemed to want to end things given the returned ring, and waited. He was already slowly losing hope when the key turned in the lock, and soon the door opened too, revealing disheveled-looking Oikawa, the dark circles under his eyes telling Iwaisume he hadn't slept much these last few days. Talk then. Explain why you are lying to me. This again. I'm not lying to you. He stopped the door from getting closed, clenching his jaw. Can you let me speak instead of accusing me right away? If you want me to talk, then listen, damn it. Oikawa mirrored his expression, but Iwaisume knew him long enough to recognize the deeply hidden pain in his eyes, similar to the one he felt himself. Please, we aren't kids anymore to give each other silent treatment without talking. If there's an issue, we can work it out. That's what we always said, remember? Oikawa seemed to hesitate for a while before giving a short nod. Alright, but I want the truth. He looked away briefly, his voice trembling when he spoke again. No matter how nasty it is. Sure. They settled opposite each other. For a while, neither of them spoke until Iwaisume cleared his throat. Fine. Tell me why you are so upset with me. And don't leave anything out. For a moment, just imagine I have no idea what you are talking about. I was out with the team on Saturday when I saw you with some woman. Laughing and all touchy as if you were on a date. She even kissed you. What time was it? That's what you care about? What time? About 3 in the afternoon. You walked out of a restaurant. You gave her a bag. She kissed you and then you split ways. Iwaisume nodded to himself, his heart aching both from the pain now clearly visible in Oikawa's expression and the fact his fiancée truly seemed to have very little faith in him all of a sudden. The same person who spent weeks by his hospital bed, who was scared to just hug him to not mess up his recovery, was now so easily swayed by his eyes. Why didn't you follow after them? Hajime! Just answer me, please. Because I couldn't even move. I couldn't believe you would do something like that one. His words seemed to get caught in his throat, his eyes glossing over. The sight hurt despite the accusations, and Iwaisume sighed. I see. That's all you have to say? No, but I need you to listen to me really carefully now. He leaned forward a bit, heartbroken more than upset. I've been telling you it wasn't possible, right? Because it wasn't. At 3, I was still stuck at the school board meeting. Didn't get out until 5. You can ask the teachers who were there that I didn't leave for 5 minutes, let alone for long enough to have a whole date. The shift in Oikawa's expression was intense. Anger, sadness, pain, all that replaced by confusion in a split second. Iwaisume would like to feel satisfaction over that. Yet, all he could feel was emptiness. He didn't stop loving Toru. That much he was sure about. He probably wouldn't stop loving him even if he was the one who pushed him down that cliff. However, the distrust hurt the same. Do you need a while? Yeah. Please. Alright. He got up, pausing for a beat before sliding the ring into the center of the table, leaving it there with a light tap. Then, without another word, he headed to their garden to get some workout done before he would have to go back to preparing exercises for the kids under his care. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I kind of feel like I am overdoing it a bit with the foreshadowing of the stuff. I know I said in the last part that this was going to be more of a reflecting challenge for the people who are participating. But yeah, some of the stories were a bit too tempting to not use it as foreshadowing for some plot points that are going to be coming up. Obviously, namely Kinkuni and Ushiten. Iwaoi is almost done. It's going to be finished in the next challenge. I will probably not be doing like a special for them. However, Terushou is going to get a special very soon. I already have it written, I just need to record, edit, make it happen. But they are going to have a special. About others, who knows? We will see. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time!